All right, welcome heroes to the VA Homebuyer Masterclass. My name is Johnny Perez and I will be your host this evening. Lots of great valuable information to cover today. We're going to debunk all of the myths and misconceptions pertaining to your VA loan. We're going to walk you through the buying process. We're going to help you understand the documents that are needed to help you get qualified for your VA loan. We're also going to help you obtain your COE, statement of service, or your DD 214. Okay, we're going to go over the different types of mortgages that are into this market. And more importantly, you're going to learn how valuable the VA loan is. Guys, the hands down, this is the best loan in the marketplace today. And we're excited to be here tonight with you guys, or today, and lots of information. So if you don't already have a pen and paper, please go ahead and grab one because you're going to want to take a lot of notes. If you're live at one of our Hero Star meetups, welcome. I'm sure your agent there has handed you a packet of information. Feel free to take a look at that. Information about the program. You can download our book, Mission Home, as well as a survey that we'll be covering here in just a little bit. So welcome to our Hero Star meetups. I believe we have Rancho Cucamonga with us tonight, Long Beach with us, and Las Vegas, and of course here in San Diego. So welcome you guys. Those are our certified VA Heroes agents, the boots on the ground. They're there in person to help you, help answer your questions as well as we move through this evening in this event. Okay? All right, I'm going to start off, and can you guys see my screen okay? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can. Just want to make sure, because I have several things open here on my computer, and I want to make sure you guys can see that. So I want to start off tonight with a quick exercise. And I do this exercise, folks, because I really feel it's important for you guys to understand the mindset going into buying a home. Because I know and understand that purchasing a home is scary, right? It is very frightening, especially when we don't know what we don't know. Let alone the buying process, let alone the loan process, right? And more importantly, all of the false negative narratives that are in the marketplace today, right? I'm sure you've heard of 100 different narratives out there from media, social media, family, friends. Is it the right time to buy? Is it not the right time to buy? You know, are interest rates too high? Prices too high? Economy? I mean, we're hearing it all right now, right? And so what I like to do is take a step back and start with a little exercise. Because for most of us tonight, folks, this is going to be our very first purchase, right? This is the very first home that we're buying. And we also have to understand this is a stepping stone. This is a starter house to get us on our way. And so something I want to do is with our mindset, get us prepared to get into our first home. And I do this not only for the mindset aspect of it, but to help establish something that we call your buy box. And that's that place, that neighborhood that you're looking to purchase your home in. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed, I should say, over time that if I write down that specific goal, it becomes a reality. So if I write it down, it becomes a goal, and then that goal becomes a reality, right? So imagine your first home in the ideal location. What does it look like? Okay. What excites you about that area, that neighborhood? I'm going to turn this one off here. Hopefully that didn't cut us off. You guys can still see me, right? Thumbs up. Okay. Imagine your first home. What is it that excites you the most about that community? Whether it's close to your job, close to the kids' school, go ahead and write that down. And share that with your significant other, share that with your family and friends, because it's important to have a starting point, right? To have that base. And that base is like, hey, I'm going to become a homeowner. And this is what I envision our first home to be. If you are currently a homeowner, maybe you're looking at your different options and you're a first time maybe home seller, or maybe like tonight you're going to hear about bonus entitlement and how you may want to purchase a second home, right? This is all where it all starts. I really truly believe that this is the beginning. So let's go ahead and jot that down. If you're just joining us tonight, folks, my name is Johnny Perez. I am the founder of the Hero Star program. I launched the program in 2016, and I'm happy to say we are a nationwide program. We provide resources, education, and savings to help all heroes achieve the dream of homeownership. We want each of you today to create an action plan and a timeline. And you're going to hear me say those two phrases over and over again because that's what we're here for. We're not here to sell you anything. Okay? We're the exact opposite. We're here to help you with develop an action plan and a timeline to get you into a home. Why is home ownership so important? Well, folks, number one, it's life changing. It will change your life forever. Number two, it's going to help build generational wealth for you and your family. So our job tonight is to get you there sooner rather than later so that you can experience all the benefits to homeownership. Okay. So that's going to roll me right into a real estate market update. Let's talk real estate. Let's figure out what is truly going on in today's marketplace. Because again, we hear all the rumors. We hear all the different narratives that are playing out with the war, with gas prices, with interest rates, right? I can go on and on and on. Here is what's the reality of today's market. Number one, yes, there are more houses for sale on the market today than there was even before COVID. This is great for us as buyers. Why? Because there are more opportunities for us. There's more inventory to choose from. This is a good thing. What else are we seeing? Well, how about days on the market? We can all agree that houses in some areas are not selling as fast, right? They're not gone in a weekend. Now, granted, it is market specific, right? So if the house is priced correctly and turnkey, we are seeing those properties sell pretty quickly. But overall, guys, houses are staying on the market longer. 30 days, 40 days, 60 days. For us as buyers, this is a good thing. Why? Because the homeowners, as time goes on, they're getting anxious, right? They're getting anxious and they're asking those questions. Why didn't my home sell yet? Or I got to hurry up and get to my next journey, my next chapter in my life, so I have to get this home sold. That puts us in a better negotiation spot, right? Can we all agree? Absolutely. It gives us options when we're negotiating. It actually gives us a little bit of a upper hand, if you will, right? Number three, what else are we seeing? How about all those downward arrows? If you're online on any of the big platforms, you're probably seeing downward arrows next to the list price. What does that mean? Well, Zillow announced 52% of all listings, all active listings, have reduced their price in the last 30 days. Guys, that's half the inventory have reduced their price in the last 30 days. I don't know about you guys, but I'm raising my hand now because that's a sign. That means sellers are really motivated to work with me because they're reducing their price, which means they're helping out buyers with closing costs. They're helping out buyers buy down the interest rate to get a little bit of lower rate. They're helping buyers with extra concessions to do things like pay off debt, pay off some credit card bills, maybe get new appliances. And we're going to cover all that tonight and how all that works. But I think first, it's important to understand the type of market. Let's not get caught up on interest rates. Are interest rates important? Sure they are, because that's going to help with your budgeting, right? That's going to tell us what you fully qualify for. And tonight we're going to cover that. But what's important here is that you want to write down that magic number, that budget that you have per month that you can afford for a house. That's going to be our key. Forget about the interest rates, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a minute, okay? But the real estate market is going to continue to move. Our rate's a little bit higher. Well, guys, it's been a roller coaster of a year, right? It has literally been a roller coaster. We've been with VA all the way down to like 5.25%, and all the way back up to 6.25%. I mean, we've just been playing this game, right? And so I can tell you what today's interest rate is, but it may not be the same tomorrow or next week or even 30 days when you're ready to make a move, or 60 days or 90 days, right? And so that leads us to that question, Johnny, when is the best time to buy a home? And guys, I will tell you this. If you speak to any real estate agent across the country, they're going to tell you now. Now, 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 now. Why? Because they're salespeople. That's their job, right? If they don't sell a home, if they don't sell a home, what happens? Well, they don't eat. They don't pay their bills, right? So when we say when is the best time to buy, we truly believe it's when you're able, willing, and qualified. Able, willing, and qualified. I want to make sure my layout's still working for you guys, right? Okay, good. And I mean this by this way, folks. Able meaning economically, right? We have income to satisfy for us to help qualify. We have cash reserves necessary for our deposit, our closing costs, things of that nature, right? And financially, we're pretty much there to qualify. Now, we got to be willing to go through the process. So all of us are willing to be here tonight. That's step one, right? We got to be willing to gather all of the documentation. right? We have to be willing to go through the process. Yes, they will ask you for quite a bit of information. Whoops, sorry guys, I don't know why my screen is doing that. They will ask you for quite a bit of information. Yes, they're going to ask you for pay stubs. They're going to ask you for tax returns, and we're going to give you a whole list tonight of what they will be asking you for. Then you got to get qualified. And what does that mean? That means, well, sitting down with your lender, getting qualified, running your credit, looking at your debt to income ratios. All this must be done. Then once you're able, willing, and qualified, folks, that is the time you go purchase. That is the time you go out and buy. Now, granted, I do have heroes that say, I don't like the way these interest rates are looking at me. I'm going to sit on the sideline. And the last number was that 82% of the buyers are sitting on the sideline still waiting for interest rates to come down and prices to come down. And folks, if you want to join them, feel free. I call that gambling. If you want to gamble with the market, no problem. But I will share with you from experience, I've seen heroes that unfortunately have waited and they've been outpriced to the market. They no longer can afford that home in that neighborhood that they wanted to move to, their buy box. So if you want to sit, wait, no problem. Now, I will tell you, when rates do come down, and we've seen this already happen several times, when rates fall, we get an influx of buyers. If more buyers are coming into the market, what do you think is going to happen to prices? They're going to go up. What about competition? You may not be the only offer. Today, guys, you may be the only offer on that home, or maybe competing with one other. If those interest rates come down, you might be now competing with 3, 5, 7 other offers. Do you think a seller will negotiate with you if they have 5 offers in front of them, or 1 or 2 offers? We have a higher chance, right, to close or to get those rebates, to get those concessions from a seller in negotiating, right? If we're only 1 of 2 offers or the only offer. Okay. And again, why is it so important to get you into home ownership sooner rather than later? Well, it's for the benefits of home ownership. Let's go through these. Number 1, build equity. This is the appreciation of your home going up over time. Now, granted, folks, real estate's a long-term investment. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. And I say that because a lot of people jump into real estate thinking they're going to make, $100,000 in their first year. Now, granted, did it happen in the past? Yes. Did it happen during COVID? Sure. A lot of our heroes that purchased during COVID time, they all walked with over 6 figures when they sold their home, and they made that equity quick. Overall, in this market that we're in, folks, nationwide, property values still increased by 3%. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but they still increased by 3%. So we want to help you get into a home so you can start building equity. And by the way, folks, as long as you live in your home 2 years out of 5, as long as you live in it for 2 years, when you sell your home, any equity that is earned is tax-free money. Tax-free. Now, for a single person, it's $250,000. For a married couple, it's $500,000. Tax-free. Now, guys, I don't know of any other financial vehicle that I can invest money, make a profit, and not have to pay the IRS. Homeownership gives you that ability to do that. Number 2, tax benefits. Check with your tax person. I'm sure all of us have just finished or did our taxes, right? Because we just passed the 15th. Check in with your tax advisor. Ask them that question. Hey, listen, I'm looking to purchase a home. What type of tax incentives, write-offs should I expect? For a lot of you folks, it's going to be an eye-opener because you're going to say, man, I give the IRS that much money? I give Uncle Sam that much money of my hard-earned check? And for some of you, you're going to say, hey, that's going to help me bridge the gap, and I can afford to become a homeowner, okay, with the write-offs. Number 3, forced savings account. Now, here's what I mean by this, folks. Number 1, your VA loan is a 30-year fixed mortgage, okay, 30-year fixed mortgage, which means your payment will not change for the next 30 years unless you refinance or sell your home. Now, your payment is broken down like this. A portion of your payment is going to cover the interest that is due on the loan. A portion of your payment goes to your property taxes. A portion of your payment goes to your home insurance. And then whatever's remaining will go to the balance of your mortgage, the loan. So every single month, year 1, year 3, year 5, year 7, as I make my payments, the amount that I owe on my mortgage gets less. So when I go to sell my home 5 years from now or 7 years from now, whatever it is, not only am I making that equity, which is the appreciation value from what I bought the house for and what I sold it to, right? What I sold it for. But I'm also getting back a portion of all of those payments. So you can think of it as a savings account. Do we get that as renters right now? No. And for us, that some of you that are complaining about the interest rates, like, oh, these rates are too high, I want to wait. Sometimes I have to sit down with our heroes and say, well, what interest rate are you currently in? It's, what do you mean? I'm a renter. I don't own. Yeah. That means you're at 100% interest. In fact, you're interest only because every single month you pay the landlord. The only benefit you have is the roof over your head. And for some of us, we may not even get our security deposit back. I know it sounds crazy, but I've heard the stories, right? What are some other advantages of your VA loan? Well, they're assumable. So there could be a home on the market in your buy box area that a seller, a veteran is selling, and you could take over their 3% interest rate. We're doing that a lot right now in this market. We are helping heroes get into homes and take over lower interest rates. The VA Earl, and I don't mean about your Uncle Earl, and we're going to cover this here a little bit later on tonight, but the Earl refinance. This allows you to refi when rates do come down. And this is huge because I feel like that's a game changer right there. Because a VA is a government loan, the rates are usually lower to begin with. And yes, guys, you can use your VA loan multiple times over and over and over again. There's something called bonus entitlement that allows you to purchase a second home. So yes, you're going to hear the stories tonight on how heroes have two loans simultaneously. One is now a rental property and one they live in. And then, of course, seller concessions up to 4%. What does that mean? Well, we can ask for sellers to give us help to pay our closing costs, to buy down our interest rate, and to pay off debt. Let me repeat that. Yes, you can pay off debt in a transaction using your VA loan, meaning we can ask a seller for extra concession monies to go towards your credit card bill, to go towards your automobile note, to pay off student debt. This is happening right now, folks, in this market where heroes are taking full advantage and reaping those benefits. Why did I create this program, Hero Star? As I mentioned, we started in 2016. We've been doing this all throughout the country. We're a nationwide program. Guys, one word, education. Education. Myself, I have been in the real estate profession for the last 24 years now. And if anything, throughout my career, I've noticed there's been a lack of education. Lack of education for the consumer and a lack of education for the real estate agents. Guys, there are 1.5 million real estate agents across the country. You'd be surprised when I go to interview these agents how many of them do not have a clue about VA guidelines. Flip that. How many heroes have been told false information or misleading information? Right? So we wanted to create a program where we can debunk all of those myths and misconceptions for you and give you real guidelines, right? Not only that, we want you all to be successful. We want you all to be homeowners because, again, it's life-changing and it's going to start building generational wealth for you and your family. So we built this platform, folks, so that we can provide these education classes and master classes, as well as now our Heroes Meetups. A lot of you tonight are joining us around the country here at our Heroes Meetups. And this is what it's about, right? Being able to provide you with that information. Guys, we're not here to sell you anything tonight. We're here to help educate you, provide you with those resources, give you those tools necessary so that you can get the confidence. And when you're ready, you'll move forward to home ownership. My inspiration is my grandfather, U.S. Army vet in World War II out in Germany. He was my inspiration, has been my inspiration, right? And he was one of the ones that was told you could only use it once, so you better save it for your forever home, right? And hearing a lot of those myths and misconceptions, I have a big heart, guys, and I'm all about giving back, right? And so I took a vow to leave no hero behind. And so this is why we're here tonight. This is why I'm here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, right? Live across the country, because we want to share not only the power of your VA loan, but we want to share stories. And more importantly, we want to walk you through the process. So if you want more information about our program, you can always go to herostar.com online. You see there on your screen, not only do we help military, we help all first responders, law enforcement, all heroes, if you will. So if you have any family, friends, or neighbors that fit into any of these categories, please let them know about the program and point them our way. Tonight, obviously, we're going to be focused on VA, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we do have all those resources available for them as well. Okay? All right, loan basics. Let's get started on some loan basics. I think it's very important for us to understand the types of mortgages that are in today's market. Why? Because just like the agents, folks, a lot of loan officers out there are not well versed or trained in VA. And because of that, they will want to put you on the type of mortgage that they're more familiar with. Okay. So there are two government loans, FHA and VA. Both are government loans. Because they're government loans, the interest rates are lower than conventional, usually about 0.75 to 1%, depending on the market. Now, FHA does require a minimum of 3.5% down. VA, as we know, there's no down payment. Okay. FHA requires something called mortgage insurance. How many of us might have heard of mortgage insurance? Well, mortgage insurance, folks, protects the bank. Should you, the borrower, default on your mortgage, you have mortgage insurance to protect you, and the bank will protect the bank. Okay. Not only does FHA have a monthly mortgage insurance, but they also have an upfront mortgage insurance that gets added to your loan. So if I took an FHA loan and a VA loan, first of all, the first difference is FHA requires a down payment, VA does not. But let's just say it was a $500,000 purchase. The payments we would think are the same because they're both government loans and they're both interest rates, right? Unfortunately, it's not true. FHA is going to have that monthly mortgage premium, which could be $200 or $300 more per month that you will be paying on an FHA. VA, guys, we don't have any mortgage insurance. So that's going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. Conventional financing is 3 to 20% down, sometimes more, give or take, depending on the transaction. Conventional financing is for owner-occupied, second home, vacation home, rental property, units up to 4 units, and multi-million-dollar properties use conventional financing. Okay. I want to reiterate that. VA, can I buy $1 million home? Yes. And I'm going to cover that here later on too, because I saw a question just pop up. What is there a loan cap on VA? So that's a great, great question, Joey, and we're going to answer that here in just a second for you. All right. The basic intention of the VA home loan program is to supply home financing to all of our eligible veterans, active military, and reservists to help purchase properties with no money down. So we know that there's no money down. And I think that's pretty self-explainable, right? Now, here's where it gets confusing, folks. These two words, and please write them down: closing cost. Now, closing costs occur in every type of transaction. VA, FHA, conventional. Even if you purchase a property with all cash, there will still be closing costs. Closing costs consist of your following fees: escrow fees, title fees, lender fees, property taxes, home insurance. If there's an HOA, there could be transfer and dock fees. If you're in a state like North Carolina or Illinois, there could be attorney fees. When I combine all of those together, folks, it equates to 2% of the purchase price. So if I'm purchasing that $600,000 home times 2%, that means $12,000 is what I need to anticipate for my closing costs. Now, folks, write this down. The VA does not cover your closing cost. The VA loan does not incorporate or include your closing costs. Closing costs is an out-of-pocket expense. I already see hands being raised. What if you don't have enough money for closing costs? Great question. Sellers right now in today's market are paying those closing costs for you. They're giving us credit. In fact, it's called a VA no-no. No money down, no closing costs. And all of our heroes right now are reaping those benefits of today's market. Again, remember we went back, there's more inventory. We went back that sellers are anxious, more anxious now than ever before, and sellers are reducing their price. So sellers are coming to the table, and we as buyers are able now to negotiate those seller credit to cover our closing costs. Okay? You do need to be owner occupied, so the intent to live in the home day one. Can it be a rental down the road? Absolutely. But day one, the intent to live in the home. Okay? What can I buy with my VA? So folks, majority of the houses will qualify. The only way a house will not qualify is if there's major health and safety issue like mold, non-working heater, health and safety issues like broken glass, or the home is just not habitable. But overall, majority of the houses will qualify. New construction, guys, do me a favor. Do not go into new construction without a certified VA Heroes agent. Why? Because you will leave money on the table. Proven facts, know from experience. New construction, they have really great benefits. They have great incentives, I should say, right now for buyers. We helped a military buyer purchase a property with Lennar, and they got a 4.9% interest rate, right? And to the hero, they were like, man, this is great, right? They said, hey, Johnny, we called Lennar, we can get a 4.9. I said, yeah, and we can also get your closing cost credit to cover your closing costs. Oh, they didn't say anything about that. Of course not. The agents that work there with the builders work for the sellers, right? So their job is to what? Make money for the sellers. So please do not walk into new construction without your agent, okay? Condos, townhomes, as long as they're VA approved. I do want to point out that not all of them are VA approved, so you want to check the status on that. Can I buy units? Yes, you can. Duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Live in one, rent out the others. There are some great buys right now. In fact, a lot of our team guys are going in and doing split entitlements where two of them are coming together and purchasing units. It makes for great passive income for the future, right? And a great write-off when it comes time for tax season. Okay, so something to definitely take a look at. Land, can I buy land with my VA loan? Unfortunately, no. There's not a bank out there that will allow you to purchase just dirt. How about manufactured home? I saw that question just pop up. Yes, as long as it is on owned land. Okay. If it's leased or space rent or lease rent, it will not qualify. It has to have what's called a HUD plate. Okay. So if you need help with that, let us know, and we'll make sure that you have the right assistance in that area to help you point that out. But yes, manufactured home, you can. Okay. How much can I spend? Okay. Somebody asked this question earlier, right? What's my limit? Folks, the limit is whatever you personally qualify for. Okay. One could be 1.5 million. Could be 200,000, 800,000. Whatever you personally qualify, folks, that will be your limit. Okay. Now, if you currently have a home and maybe you were a first-time buyer and now you would technically be a first-time seller, right? You do have options. Okay. And I say that because we've started a series now just for VA homeowners to walk you through that. So for my heroes that are here tonight that own a home, you have something called bonus entitlement. And you want to check what that looks like, okay? And the reason why is because with bonus entitlement, you can go out and purchase a second home and keep your first home as a rental. And not a lot of agents or loan officers know about bonus entitlement or understand it or know how to explain it, okay? And I'm going to share a quick story here with you. I had a hero that was on one of our webinars from Northern California, and she wanted to relocate to San Diego. And she had already interviewed a couple agents and talked to her loan officer, and everybody said, great, let's sell your home to free up your VA loan so that we can help you get into a new property, right? So if you free up your VA loan, you can use it again. So in her mind, she was ready to list her house. She came across Hero Star. She joined our webinar. She heard me having this same dialogue, right? Different story. She reached out and said, Johnny, you talked about bonus entitlement. Do I qualify? And I said, do you want to keep your current home? She says, I would love to. I have a 2.25% interest rate, and I would love my daughter with my grandkids and her husband to move into it and just take it over. I would love to leave them something. And more importantly, take advantage of this because with that low interest rate, it's cheaper than rent, that mortgage payment. And I said, all right, let's take a look at your bonus entitlement. She said, talk me through that, walk me through that. Long story short, folks, she had enough entitlement to qualify at 100% for a home in San Diego. And so we walked her through that, got her into her home in San Diego, which happened to be a VA no-no, which I'm going to cover here in the next screen because I know some of you I already saw Henry ask, what's a VA no-no? I'm going to break that down for you. But she purchased a home here in San Diego. She kept her house in Sacramento is where she was at. And her daughter moved in their house up north. And so on paper, her Northern California home is now a rental. And of course, her San Diego home is her personal residence. So yes, you can have two VA loans at one time. And guys, she was so excited. And the first thing she asked me, she says, why were those agents not telling me about bonus entitlement? I said, well, it could be a number of things. I don't want to speculate, but Chances are they just weren't educated on the process or have taken the time to master the craft of VA. And number two, you have to realize these are real estate agents. They want to list and sell homes, right? So if that's an opportunity for them to sell, that's what unfortunately they're going to do. And she was just so grateful that she was able to hold on to that property, and more importantly, have her daughter and grandkids and husband, her daughter's husband, move into that home. All right. I'm gonna stop here real quick. Or you know what? I'll wait on our survey. Let's cover some. Let me debunk some of the myths and misconceptions, because we have a lot of these to go through tonight, and I know we want to stay on track here. Will I have closing costs when purchasing a home? Yes, we spoke about those. This is an out-of-pocket expense. Remember, right now in today's market, sellers are contributing. Sellers are paying your closing cost credit. It has to be negotiated at the time that you submit an offer, but it is happening in today's market. And estimate 2%. So if I'm buying a $700,000 home, that's going to be about $14,000, right, in closing costs. So just put that down, make a note of that. What is a VA no-no? Henry, here we go. So it's a transaction where there's no money down and no closing costs. So we're literally having heroes right now go under contract for a house. They put a $5,000 deposit down, and at the closing table, they're getting their keys to their new home and that $5,000 check back with everything covered. All their closing costs, concessions, everything is covered. So that, my friends, is what's called a VA no-no. So crazy, I know. This is that term's been around since I believe the 80s, believe it or not. So it's still in existence today. What is the difference between a seller concession and seller closing cost credit? Okay, folks, this is where who you work with matters more than ever. You heard me mention this earlier, that 1.5 million real estate agents nationwide. Folks, hate to break it to you, but 70% of those agents sold 0 houses last year. 0. I know it's crazy to hear that. We want to make sure that you were working with full-time vetted real estate agents, meaning they understand the VA process, meaning they do transactions. They're selling in this marketplace, right? Because if they do not write your contract correctly and present that offer, you may be missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, let me give you the breakdown between seller closing cost credit and seller concession. Seller closing cost credit, folks, cover your closing costs, which are reoccurring and non-reoccurring, which are basically what I talked about: escrow fees, title fees, lender fees, property taxes, home insurance, condo fees, transfer doc fees. Well, Johnny, you said I could pay off my credit card debt. Yeah, but it's not considered seller closing costs credit. Closing cost credit only cover closing costs. Now, if I write seller concessions to include interest rate buy down, that allows me to use all that money. And there's a phrase we like to say: you either use it or you lose it. So if you ask for a $20,000 credit from the sellers and it's written that you only using it for your closing costs, and let's say your closing costs are only $12,000, the balance is going to go back to the seller. Now, if I have it written correctly, seller concession to include interest rate buy down, I'll use the whole thing. And folks, we will figure out how to use it. We'll pay off credit card debt. We'll pay off your car note. We'll pay off school debt, right? Student loan debt. We've done it. We're doing it. It's continuing to happen right now in this market. Okay, it is market specific, but we're seeing sellers stepping in and giving us that concession. We had one hero that had extra concession left over. We paid off 8 months of their HOA in advance. We had another one that they went ahead and bought the home warranty for 5 extra years. Another one just said, no, I just want my credit cards paid off, right? So we can definitely use that money, but it's important that it's written the right way. How does a VA funding fee get waived? Okay. Now, folks, the VA funding fee is set in place, again, to protect the government, right, from you defaulting. And they do charge a funding fee. Now, this funding fee for first-time users is 2.15%. This does get added to your loan. This is not an out-of-pocket expense, right? And I think because this gets added to the loan, this is where the confusion comes into play with closing costs and the funding fee. Now, here's what's going to save you thousands. If you have a disability rating with compensation, it used to be 10% minimum. Now it's any disability rating with compensation, the VA funding fee is waived, and it's waived for life. So you could use your VA loan over and over again and never have to pay a funding fee. In fact, we encourage all of our veterans to go in and get those disability ratings with compensation. And that will save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay. Does the property have to be move-in ready on VA? We always say yes and no. Termites. This is big, especially here in California and throughout the country, but more so here in California. You do have to have a termite report with Section 1 clearance to close. Other than that, as long as the house is habitable and doesn't fall into anything we already talked about, you're good to go. Okay. Can I use my VA loan to buy a condo? Yes. As long as the complex is HOA, the HOA is VA approved. Okay. Now, every complex has its own name. I'm sure you've seen it. If you go to a condo community, they have their own name out there, Carriage Walk, or I don't know, Shadow Oaks, whatever they're called, right? And they have their HOAs. And so we want to make sure that they're VA approved. Now, not all of them are. And I'll tell you why. The VA is here to protect you guys. Number one, they want to see more sellers than tenants living in the community. They want to make sure that the HOA has adequate funding, cash reserves in the bank account. Should there be an emergency? Should insurance rates go up? Should the balconies need to be remodeled? Okay, so we want to make sure they have enough equity in their bank account. Number three, no pending litigations or lawsuits. Okay, so again, the HOA is here, the VA is here to protect you, to make sure that that complex is VA approved. How many VA loans can you have in a lifetime? Guys, you can have multiple and simultaneous. You've already heard me tell you a story about one hero who already has two. You can do them over and over again. They never expire. The only time they'll expire is if you had a dishonorable discharge. Okay? Does my credit score affect my qualification to purchasing a home using my VA loan? Joey, you had this question here. What should my VA credit be? Great question, my friend. So, according to VA guidelines, VA says they're not worried about your FICO score. They don't care what your FICO is. However, the lender, with their overlays, each lender has their own credit score benchmark. We like to look at, if you have a 640 or higher, that's going to put you in a great position when it comes to the lowest interest rate possible at the lowest cost. When you get below 640, cost is going to be a little bit higher to put you in that loan. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it also means we want to get you to good credit. So if you're struggling or you have questions about that, let us know, because we do have resources. In fact, our VA vetted lenders we work with from around the country, they can do something called a rapid rescore. We do have a company that if you need more than just a rapid rescore, they can sit down with you and walk you through how to fix your credit. Okay? Can I rent my house out if I have a VA loan? Absolutely you can, but not day one. Folks, the intent to live in the home day one. Down the road, doesn't matter. We just had a team guy purchase a home and literally been in the house, I think, 40 days. And he gets orders, he's deploying. He's like, oh my God, Johnny, what am I going to do? They're going to take my house away. No, we can rent it out. And we helped him rent out the property and put somebody in there because he knows he's not going to be back for 9 to 12 months. Okay. Can I purchase a home with my unmarried partner using my VA benefits? I think there was a question here that I saw come up here in the chat. Let me see here. Oh yeah, Chloe, this was your question, right? Oops, sorry guys, my screen switched here. Chloe asked, my fiance and I are getting married in October. Can we purchase a home now or do we have to wait? Good question. So you see, folks, the VA loan is equivalent to a 25% down payment. Okay, and it only covers the hero and your spouse. So if you purchased it with your unmarried partner, you're going to be required to bring in a down payment. Okay. So Chloe, to answer your question, whether it's you're the hero or your future husband's the hero, I would say get qualified and see if you can purchase the home by yourself without using the other income. If you need both incomes to qualify, then yes, you're going to have to wait till you get married. If not, you're going to be required to come in with a down payment, which at that point does not make sense with VA. Okay. Hopefully I answered the question. And if there's any other questions, keep them coming in, guys. What's the catch if I'm moving out of state Guys, there's no catch. Hero Star program, we are set to help you not only with education, but to partner you with VA vetted lenders across the country, as well as our team of certified VA Heroes agents. These agents have taken the time to study, get certified. A lot of them are prior military, or their spouses are military, or family members are military. So they take great pride in helping heroes like yourself, right? And you heard me mention 1.5 million agents around the country. 70% of them sold zero houses. We want to make sure that you're working with the qualified agents, the experienced agents that are in this marketplace, okay? How much does your real estate agent charge you? This is a great question. A lot of the rules have changed and guidelines have changed. In fact, there's a new law in place right now. Okay, and I'm going to cover the first half of it. So prior to August of 2024, the listing agent would meet with a seller, and at that time, that's when they would negotiate the amount of commission that the seller was willing to pay for an agent to bring a buyer and purchase the home. That was all pre-done, predetermined, pre-negotiated. So when that house went on the market, everybody knew that the seller was paying X amount of dollars. Now, the DOJ, big lawsuit, they came out and said, well, we now want this separated. The buyer is in charge of his agent. The seller is in charge of their agent. We want this now negotiated at the time of contract. So when you're presenting an offer, folks, your agent's compensation will be included with that offer. It's now a term that's part of that offer, and it'll be negotiated at that time. Okay? Now, somebody asked me, are sellers still paying the agent's commission? Yes. In this market today, sellers are still paying your agent's commission. Could that change in the future? Sure, it could. But as of right now, today, sellers are still paying. Now, part two of this, folks, is something called a buyer broker representation agreement. In order to work with an agent and have that agent go out and show you properties, negotiate on your behalf, then you need to have a buyer broker representation agreement in place. Okay. Now, folks, go through this, read it, make sure you understand it. Okay. If you're online on that big website, do not click for a showing, because that is not the listing agent. Number one. Number two, if you do click it because you want to see that house, be careful with what you're signing. A lot of our heroes are coming back to us and saying, hey, I went on a website and I asked to see a house, and I didn't even realize I signed a buyer broker agreement with an agent that I've never even met, or I've only met him once when he showed me that house, but now I'm under contract with them. Can you break it? Yes. Can you cancel it? Yes. But there's also a cooling down period with that. Okay. So our certified VA Heroes agents, guys, will walk you through that step by step and show you what that's like. But the buyer broker agent agreement, guys, is great, because now you have an agent in your corner representing you and only you in that transaction, able to show you houses, and more importantly, able to negotiate on your behalf. Okay. Who qualifies for VA financing? Active duty, 2 years or 90-day wartime service. Veterans and retired, as long as you have honorable discharge. Okay. Surviving spouse, reservist, 6 years. Please, 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 guys, do not miss any of your weekend drills. We had a reservist come through and he was missing 1 weekend and he couldn't qualify. It's crazy, crazy. Surviving spouse, unremarried widow, and gold star widow, as long as the death was service related. Okay, and we're seeing a lot of those come out, and a lot of the spouses have no idea that they even can still use their spouse's VA loan. So definitely want to check that out if you fall in one of those categories. If I didn't get approved by my favorite bank, does that mean I have to rent? No. Why? Because every lender is different with their own overlays, whether it's a credit union, the big banks, or a mortgage banker. Hero Star, we happen to work with the best VA vetted lenders around the country. I refer to them as hybrid lenders. They call themselves mortgage bankers. What does that mean for you? Well, they have the ability to go to the big banks like Chase and Wells. They can go to Rocket. They can go to UWM, PennyMac. Then they also have their own warehouse line where they can draw funds from as well. Why is this important for you, the consumer? Well, 2 reasons. Number one, it's going to ensure that you get the lowest interest rate possible based upon your circumstances. And number two, you're going to get it at the lowest cost possible. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're definitely in that position to take advantage of that. All right, 1 second here, guys. Let's switch gears. Apologize here. Go ahead and keep the questions coming in. I see we have a couple more. Um, Disability. If I have 100% this is Bob or Robert. I'm sorry. Robert is asking if I have 100% disability, do I have to pay property taxes? And Robert, that's a great question. It depends on where you're buying, my friend. If you are here in San Diego or San Diego County, and actually, let me just rephrase that. Every county is going to be different based upon the rebate you're going to get from property taxes or the savings, I should say. Okay. Now, if you're in Arizona, Arizona just passed the law. Texas, Illinois, I think those are the three states right now that if you're 100% disabled, there's no property taxes at all. In fact, when you're qualifying, they will not even put the taxes on. Um, it won't go against you to qualify. Okay. All right. Let me switch gears here. I'm going to play this quick testimonial video, and then we're going to go into your